Tonight, I will be painting pixel art of actor Vic Michaelis as they portray journalist Vic Michaelis in Very Important People. I'm going to show you how I went from the roughest of sketches to my final product. My name is Everest. I'm an illustrator, writer, and let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you the reference photo that I have for this. This is from one of the promo clips for Very Important People. So wonderful. I just love this moment when Vic flipped their hair in this kind of dramatic fashion. You'll see that I decide in the middle of drawing their face that I wanted to go from kind of like a soft, warm eye to like a depressed, exhausted eye. That was intentional. That was kind of the moment in the middle of sketching that I decided that I wanted this to be not necessarily an actor portrayal, but a character portrayal. I wanted to capture that discontentment that Vic carries so well in this performance. As I'm drawing this sketch, I am also adding these skeleton bone looking lines on their cheeks and on their head. And these are not going to be making it to the final draft. These are not going to be really making it even past the sketch. But they're here because I want to be able to create a 3D effect in this piece. And this will help my guiding lines of where my highlights and shadows will be going as I'm placing color. You know, this piece is only 300 by 300 pixels, keeping things accurate while also keeping the pixel count so low is really fun. I take all those rough, hasty movements that I have started with and I'm bringing them into accuracy. I know that drawing portraits can be a really difficult process, and in my opinion, there's quite a bit of forgiveness on whether or not I accurately capture the way that their hair flipped as they were turning, but there's definitely less of a sense of identification if I get those key details wrong. So part of using that skeleton of the first sketch as a base is being able to finalize some of those rough details into really confident choices about the shape of their eyes and their mouth and their eyebrows. It was so surreal the other day to have my niche secret project finally go public on the internet. I had so much pride and excitement about releasing that first video, even though inevitably whenever you do something for the first time, you're gonna look back someday and maybe cringe at some things, maybe wish you had done some things better. But for now and in general, I am really happy with that first video that I released. Just the insanity that 11 people have decided to start following my art when before it was 0. I mean, that feels very intimate and it feels really wonderful. And if you guys are willing to tell me what's working well and what you'd like to see from me in the future, I'm reading every comment and I'm looking forward to seeing what you want and what you think. And one of the beauties of using a program like Photoshop is that I'm able to adjust details a little bit. And now we are ready to go into our color. As I begin to slap on this background color, even at this point, I'm not certain about what I want the background of this piece to look like. Was just intending to trust my intuition as I move forward. I end up shifting the hue near the end because orange and purple looked a lot more interesting to me. Now I'm taking that background and very lightly at a lower opacity, adding some skin tone and bringing a bit of life to their face while also keeping those eyes looking focused but checked out. Kind of this look of Vic and Very Important People that I liked so much. The lighting was not very good, and so as I got into color, I kind of relied on other examples of Vic's appearance to fill in the gaps. I'm a lot more forgiving about the blouse, the blazer, the hair, and I'm flipping the piece now. I always like to look at a piece from multiple angles. I'm still not happy with the color of the background. They're not popping in the way that I want them to. It's not enough. So what I did is I went back to the Very Important People season 1 trailer and I wrote out a lot of the words that I was hearing in this red font, and that's what's behind Vic, is the text in the Very Important People season 1 trailer on YouTube. With that rough color done, we are now ready to paint. What differentiates the painting from the rough color is that all of this work is going to be done over all of the other layers that I've done so far. The color of the eyes is going to change over the course of the next few minutes. For now, I'm doing this kind of deep oceanic blue. You may notice that with the second rough draft and the rough painting, I started with the eyes. And that's actually something that I've been doing with portraits for a while now. I spent a summer working, like one of those traveling caricature booths. I totally did that for a summer. It was really stressful because I was just a teenager at the time. You were not allowed to draw in pencil first. You had to start with ink. If you made a mistake, you were just screwed. Here I am, this incredibly socially awkward, socially anxious teenager. So I would always start with the eyes because I knew that if I could capture the eyes successfully, there would be more forgiveness whenever it came to the other features. Not a lot of people are so tied and attached to their eyebrows or nose or lips in the same way they are their eyes. You're probably thinking in this moment, well, people are kind of attached to those things too. You're totally right. But the thing about meeting someone and on the spot drawing them is that you don't know how they feel about their own face. I realized that I would make more customers happy if I didn't draw them like themselves. I would do like a it was pretty much like I was doing what Snapchat and Instagram would be doing with your face. Like, let's snatch up your jaw, let's make your eyebrows look full, and basically like the end product was the same sets of faces, and the real question was, what does your hair look like? What do your eyes look like? Yeah, I'm going to be honest, like whenever I captured people accurately, they would take a look at their picture and go, oh my gosh, my nose looks so horrible. I look like I'm Cindy Lou Who. Oh, I look just like I have caterpillars on my eyebrows. And I would just sit there kind of awkwardly be like, that's what you look like. Like, I think you look beautiful, is what I would be thinking on the inside. I would not share this with them. I'm, 16 at this time. My thoughts weren't on accuracy and excellence as much as they were, God, please get me through this summer job, right? As I've told my story, we've done quite a bit. We've solidified the face, we've started on the hair, and now we are detailing the curls. Yes, it's loud and it's busy, that background, but they are still coming to the forefront as the subject because a lot of that on the color scale is relatively light and isn't competing for space with their face. Their hair would show up differently depending on the lighting, which is very common, but I still can't quite identify how much red is actually in their hair in real life. In the initial reference photo, it seemed like they had kind of like a deep reddish hue, but as I looked through more material, I noticed sometimes that it appeared light brown, sometimes it appeared more of a medium brown. I'm trying to highlight the mysterious color of their mysterious hair. And how I found out about Vic Michaelis is I was watching Dropout, and my mind was just as blown as everyone else's from the first season of Very Important People. And actually seeing people like Vic perform is what made me want to start doing improv myself. I enrolled in a level 1 class in my city, and of course, your local improv is not going to be world class like Dropout is, but I think that the most fun that I have is just being playful with a group, like all of us kind of, to steal someone's words, jumping into the abyss together. Just totally random. And thankfully in my class, we had a really supportive and kind group of people in my level 1 who none of us were very familiar with improv. And so we were all kind of at that same level of like awkward confusion. And then level 1, the victory is just you making something up. And so I have Vic to thank, and I have Dropout to thank for actually inspiring me to say, oh my gosh, that looks fun. I don't have to be a professional comedian someday to be able to have fun with a group of new friends once every Tuesday night. The blazer and blouse are going to be kind of a blink and you'll miss it final piece to this puzzle. Also, I know that Photoshop is horrible. I think that actually one of the new H-Bomber Guy videos is going to be covering how horrible Adobe is. Big H-Bomber Guy fan. So I'm aware. I am looking for other platforms to change to right now. So if you have recommendations, if you have made the switch from Photoshop to something else, then I would love for you to let me know, because I am on the hunt to jump ship and stop giving this horrible company my money. So before I added my signature to this piece and called it a day, I did view this piece from 4 angles. So for reference, here is the reference photo that I used for this piece. Here was my initial rough color sketch, and here was the final result. If you have stayed until the end of this video, then thank you so much. I hope that you loved it. If there's anything that you'd like to see from me for the future, whether that be more fan art of things like Dropout, or I also have a lot of other things that I think are awesome. I play video games, and drop maybe one of your favorites down below and I could maybe do some fan art of it someday. I also am working on my own visual novel in my free time, and if you're interested in seeing some of my preliminary character art or some of my process of how I'm constructing my own story, then And that would be so fun to show you too. So thanks so much for sticking around, and I'll see you next time.